This video will take you through using Clever Rebates. We have a separate video available for you to cover the setup. Let's review this sales rebate. It's based on value and quantity, with a start date between the 1st of August to the end of September, so these are the valid dates. It's a stepped rebate, and our document output will be a sales credit. We can see from the right-hand side fact box, this applies to all customers in that sales rebate allocations. And from our lines, it's also going to apply to all items to keep it nice and general. And from our rebate steps down here, we can see when we meet a minimum value of 10, 100, and 500 respectively, our rebate values will be 2.5, 5, and 7.5. Because it's based on value and the quantity, it means once we reach that certain amount of quantity itself, we'll then be given these rebate values. For example, you can see from the rebate summary above, our current expected rebate total is £142.50. This is because our quantity is currently 57, therefore we sold 57 items. This puts us in the minimum value step of 10, so our rebate value is currently 2.5. So 2.5 times 57 for our total sales quantity is going to be our expected rebate total of 142.5. We can also see our steps and our allocations from across the top, with steps and allocations. Bear in mind we can't change these because the sales rebate is currently active. This is an in-progress rebate, and I've already sold some goods on. Therefore, we can select rebate entries from across the top. Here we can see the rebate entries that have been generated by this rebate, meaning that we've sold to customers items which fall under the categorization we set up earlier. From here we can see things such as if the invoice has been paid, which all of these ones have been, the quantity on the invoices, the sales amount including VAT, as well as if the accruals have been calculated for these entries, or if there's been an issued output document for the entries as well. We'll also be able to see the dates either the accruals were calculated or the document was issued, and we'll also be able to see if it's been reversed from the right hand side. So we get full transparency for all the relevant sales rebates from here. With one selected as well, we can go to Related from across the top and Show Record to actually open up that posted sales invoice. Let's return back to the rebate. First of all, you can see that our document output is a sales credit. So once we do issue the rebate itself, that's what it's going to be outputted as. What we'll do first is we'll actually create and process a new sales order to create some additional sales rebate entries. I'll generate a new sales order for a customer who will be caught by the rebate, and so I was putting on an item that will also be caught by the rebate itself. Adding a quantity of 150 to the lines, I'll just go ahead and process this order, skipping to shipping and invoicing so we can see the rebate entries that have been generated because of this. If I return back to the sales rebate now, first of all if we look in the upper right hand corner, our total sales quantity has increased by that 150, meaning that this particular customer is now sitting quite nicely on that second sales rebate step of 100. So they should be receiving back a rebate value of 5 per quantity. Our values for expected rebate total may look slightly off to you, but it's actually because we have multiple customers attached to this rebate who've reached different steps. If we open up rebate entries from across the top, we'll also be able to see that a new entry has been calculated here for the 150 quantity order that we just processed. Before we take a look at the actual document output, let's see how we can automatically accrue for this particular rebate. From across the top, we've got the Actions menu, within we have Accruals, and Create Accrual Journal. We'll be given the start date and end date of the actual rebate itself, but you can change this as necessary. When you select OK, an accrual journal will be created using the date range, and because I've got automatic posting turned off to demonstrate what this journal will look like, it'll just open rather than automatically posting. Here we can see the sales rebates have been set up for the correct GL accounts we've already configured in the setup, and the amounts will be for the accruals calculated per customer. We can see the amount is larger for the customer on the final line because of that order we just processed for them. We can also see the balance account as well that we set up for the liabilities during that setup process. We can post this to post the accruals. Bear in mind that can be automated where required if you don't want to review the journals. Coming back to the rebate in the upper right hand corner, you can see we now have an accrued rebate total populated. Returning back to the rebate entries from across the top, we can see that for the individual entries we've got our accruals calculated, the date it was calculated, and the accrual amount as well. We now work towards getting that document output. However, let's first review the setup from the rebate setup page. I currently have only issued documents for paid invoices, so that order that we just processed into an invoice won't actually be captured by the document output because it hasn't been paid yet. Bear in mind it's also from here you can turn on your automatic posting for your journal outputs and your output documents. I'll come back to the rebate and I'll quickly pay off that order that we converted into an invoice from earlier. Now that it's been paid, when we return back to rebate entries from across the top, we can see the checkbox is ticked for invoice paid for this particular entry. Going back to actions, just as a note first of all, you can actually reopen those rebate entries. In this instance though, we're going to use the create document output option, and that will create 3 credit memos, one for each of the customers who had an invoice processed around this particular rebate. Because I've got automatic posting turned off, we can either go to this credit memos page from the search to find the actual memos that have been created, or we can again go to rebate entries from across the top, and with a particular entry selected, we can go to related and show issue document to either see the sales credit memo, or if you've got automatic posting turned on, the posted sales credit memo that's been generated by the system. So from here we can see this is linked to the customer we processed the order for earlier. We can see from the lines the rebate number, in fact it's a stepped rebate, its start date and end date, the total quantity and level of that rebate as well. In this case the total amount of this particular rebate is 850, because for a stepped rebate the current rebate value was 5, and the total amount of quantity we sold to them is 170, therefore 170 times 5, 850. Since I did have automatic posting turned on, I'm just going to manually post this with post from across the top. Now that it has been posted, accrual reversal entries will be created, and it'll ask if you want to view the journal. This is something else that can get automatically posted if that automatic posting is turned on. Let's say yes to view these, and you can see here I've got an entry for my accrual reversal. You can see my line for the accrual reversal, which I can post from here. Now that I'm back on that sales rebate entries page, if I scroll to the right hand side, you'll also be able to see that the issue column is now ticked, as well as giving us the date it was issued, as well as the document type. Also now when we go to related show issue document for this top entry, it will show us the posted sales credit memo because it's no longer open as we move to here. Let's take a look at some of the additional features with Clever Rebates. If you're processing a sales or a purchase where the item on the actual document would cause a rebate entry to be created, but due to nature transaction in this scenario, maybe you don't want that rebate entry to be created because it's not valid. If that's the case, you don't have to actually put the rebate on pause or anything like that. Actually from the lines within the document itself, you'll be able to find an exclude from rebate option that you can tick. This way, no rebate entry from this transaction will be created. Let's take a look at some of these features in purchase rebates so we can see the other side. From the rebate itself, we can go to reports and rebate statement. From here, we can preview or send this to a particular file type. And this will give us a report breaking down the current rebate, giving us the terms, the summary, and the rebate entries themselves, along with that rebate amount. We're used to using the rebate entries button in the upper left hand corner to go ahead and see those rebate entries, but this only gives us the rebate entries for this one particular rebate. We can also search for rebate entries, where we can find both the sales rebate entries page and the purchase rebate entries page, which will give us all the rebate entries regardless of the rebate they're against. If we actually want to run our accruals in a batch format, we can go to the search and take a look for accrue sales rebates or accrue purchase rebates. This is simple enough to do. We just need to give it a start date and an end date, as well as any other additional filters we'd like. However, in the start date and end date fields, you won't be using a specific date. As you can see when I enter in a date, I get a validation error. This is expecting a date formula. For example, -1M to start from a month ago, and an end date of 2M for 2 months' time. You'll be able to see the calculated start and end date in those start date value and end date value fields. Same works for the accrue sales rebates option. Again, can't enter in specific dates, but we can use those formulas, such as CM plus 1D minus 1M to be the start of the month, and CM to be the end of the month. Pressing OK will then accrue as required. Because I've not got automatic posting on, I can go to my general journal, open up the sales rebate batch, for example, and here you can see I have a line created for one of my rebates. This goes hand in hand with create sales rebate output documents and create purchase rebate output documents batch processes that you can again find from the search. This is the same process for creating your rebate output documents in batch, where we can do our start date and end date formulas as well as any other filters as required. So again, we could use that CM plus 1D minus 1M formula to be the start of the month and CM to be the end of the month. Pressing OK And once more, because we've not got automatic posting turned on, I can go to the purchase credit memos, and here we can see one that's been created for us. In this case, one from that purchase rebate we looked at earlier. And that's some of the additional features around Clever Rebates. Whilst this video covered how to use Clever Rebates, you may want to also see our video on setting it up as well to give you an idea of how you can get going with it. For further information, you can check on the Clever Docs website to find all our documentation.